local athletes making the finals of both.
So, our second final gets underway, and to start us off, it's Daphne Wils of the Netherlands. 4 rounds of diving in this final of the women's 1 metre springboard competition. Inward 1.5 somersault, 2.4, as usual, range in the degree of difficulties. Our first dive.
So these athletes will have already competed for several hours, performing these dives already today.
.48 points, the opening score. You'll see at the top there the running tally added on to the first score brought forward from earlier today.
Rusa Kanerva of Finland with a back 1.5 somersault.
16 years of age. Just another reminder that this is a junior competition, hence the different format from what you might see in the Olympic Games. Not, of course, that the 1 metre board is an Olympic event, but it's in all the major championships. 3 sevens, 48.30. Next up, Diana Szelustiuk, who carried the biggest points score forwards. Can she build on that?
The athletes will be judged on how close they are as well to the board. They will be penalised if obviously they make contact.
She's got plenty of experience and some significant medals before at European level, including a gold 2012 Junior Championships. Frida Kallgren of Sweden, who's 16 years of age, inward 1.5 somersault, that's 2.4.
Took her time to find her rhythm on the end of the board. You'll see the athletes adjusting the wheel before they approach the end, and that is to change the amount of flexibility. They know exactly what it is they need for their dive and their body weight and power. They will change that accordingly.
Kaja Skiorczek from Poland, 2.4 this inward 1.5 somersault for the 16-year-old, with the strapping on her ankle. Quite a relaxed style. She's been successful at the 14 to 15 year level, the one below this at European Juniors. She's had a bronze medal at 3 meters. This is a step up for her though. And she's opened with 54, good solid 7.5s. Saw the 8.5s and the 9s flying a little bit more in our first final with the men's 3 metre synchro. It'd be good to get those sort of scores rattling along again. Very uneven in the preliminary rounds. Catherine Torrance here from Great Britain with a inward 1.5 somersault worth 2.4.
just continued her rotation on entry.
British lads out there with their silver presentation coming up. No wonder they're in a great mood.
Across the board, 6.5's average.
Viviane Barth of Switzerland, 18 years of age. Two European Championships at junior level under her belt, so a bit of experience at 18 of this sort of competition. She was also at the Youth Olympic Games in Nanjing, where she finished 9th, but that was a fantastic experience for her. She admits in her little personal details they give to the media beforehand. Pleased. Decent. 52.80. Luisa Stauczynski from Germany. Third in terms of the points she carried forwards. 2.4, inward 1.5 somersault. A long wait.
Looks like it could have been worth it. Her toes were incredibly pointed and extended, and legs very close to that vertical position as she entered the water.
How rigid her legs are, really holding that line all the way through, pulling it from under the water there. Good marks.
8s across the board. She'll be happy with that.
Josephine Schneider, second of the two German girls to go. 2.4 again. Good 1.5 for all the divers with their first dive. The tariff, as we said, so plenty more to go. Difficulty rising up to 2.6 for some, so it's a small range, all about execution. 51.60. Maria Polikova had a very good free program in the preliminary competition.
Well, there was no over or under rotation on that inward 1.5 somersault. Look at the extension in her ankles and her knees on that entry. And again, 8s, giving her 57.6.
She's the European Junior Champion. Now, Millie Fowler trying to get Great Britain's second gold. The British girls really diving well. Very tidily executed. Noisy team. Not a lot of her in terms of height. Only 5'1". The powerhouse. Great line all the way through the water. 57.60, matching Polyakova. Ekaterina Nekrasova, the European Junior champion when she was under 15. 3 meters, silver medalist at 1 meter, and trying to add a gold to her collection.
Using those arms for full momentum, getting as much height as possible off that springboard.
Quickly through the pike position. Straight 8s, 57.60 again. This is going to be a tight competition.
Those last 3 divers all scoring the same score.
It's Nekrasova leading, Starczynski second, Fowler third, Ukraine, Russia chasing. Only 4 rounds, remember.
So we start round 2 of 4 with Daphne Wils of the Netherlands.
We're up to 2.6 for a forward 2.5. Nice sharp rotations. You can see that stopping them was a problem. You can see how they sometimes drift out off the straight line off the board from our aerial camera. 3 6.5s. Luisa Kanerva of Finland. Reverse 1.5 somersault.
Getting a lot of height off the springboard. The more height the diver has, the more time they've got to complete the move and get in that perfect body position before entering the water.
See, reverse is when they dive back towards the board. Inward, forward, back and reverse for primary positions, plus the twist. 54 marks there. Kaina Szelestiuk. She's 18 years of age. European champion at this height.
Getting into such a tight pike position.
57.20 for her. Leader Kallgren. Ranked 6th after the first round of this final.
Just not completing the move. She needed another few meters of space in order to get that extension needed. So she tucks into the pike and just doesn't manage to completely open. And it all starts to go wrong.
Just didn't have the strength there to lift the legs into that vertical position. 27.60, a poor return. Kaja Skurczek from Poland.
Her most difficult dive of the four in this final. A forward 2.5 somersault, 2.6 on the ratings.
Catherine Torrance, the first of the two British girls. Based in Leeds, 16 years of age, though from South London.
Getting a great amount of height off the board, setting herself up nicely for that reverse 1.5 somersault.
Three sevens. There's a giant screen at the far end of the pool where the audience see a few replays, and that's where the score is paraded. That's why they're all looking that way. Vivian Bath from Switzerland, 2.6, this forward 2.5. Flung herself into it. Teammates are out there.
See her getting her head as close as she can to her knees. You want a really neat, tight, tucked position for a dive of 2.5 somersaults.
Louisa Strauchinski is up in second place. She has a reverse 1.5 somersault, 2.4. Strong figure there, standing on the end of the board there, 5.6, 5'6" rather, 168 centimetres. She's won gold medals at European junior level in the 15 and under category.
You do notice a difference in physique at this age. We've got divers ranging from 13 up to 18 throughout the diving.
Josephine Schneider, the second German girl, back down in 8th. Hurtling through her reverse 1.5 somersault, worth 2.4. Two sixes are 6.5, 44.40. Now, Maria Polikova. First 1.5.
Now, she just didn't get the perfect position on the board on that final bounce. Her toes, you can see there, just off the edge. She recovers it well. She still manages to get that height. And look at that tension through her body as she enters the water.
You can divide the dive up into phases so you can work their way through it, and she's done decently there. 56.40 she got. Minnie Fowler now into third place. .3 this, back 1.5 somersault, needs high execution. A little bit untidy, slightly restrained response there.
She just struggled to get her legs up on that final part when she enters the water. She did her best to correct it with her position as she went under the surface, but not her best score.
With a low tariff dive as well, that's cost her points. Ekaterina Nekrasova is the leader. Very relaxed, but real elevation off that springboard. Forward 2.5 somersault, 2.6. Only 15 from St. Petersburg. She's 5 for 1. Disappointing marks though, 39. So this competition opening right up again. Let's check the scores then, and Luisa Stavchinsky of Germany edging ahead of the Ukrainian girl. Polikova down to 3rd, Fowler dropping down 6 or 7 points. All change after round 2. Well, we've seen it time and again that the order can change quite dramatically just on the back of one disappointing show. Got to be consistent all the way through the programme. This long day with a preliminary in the morning might just be beginning to take its toll on one or two. Daphne Vils of the Netherlands now, round 3 of 4. 2.3 on this back 1.5.
Well, she scored 6.5 so far in this final in her last 2 dives. She'll be hoping to stretch into the 7s soon. Not quite doing it. 6.5 it is again, giving her a total of 44.85.
Rusa Kanerva, Finland, 2.4, inward 1.5, 7th at the halfway stage, plus this morning's points carried across, don't forget.
It's such a short space from that 1 meter board to complete the full 1.5 somersault. She still finds time to get into the vertical position.
Long day, as I say. I mean, they've got to get to the pool very early. It's about 40 minutes on the bus to the aquatic centre from the athletes' village. That's with the police escort out the front as well. Back 1.5 somersault for Shelestiuk, who's 2nd at the moment. A little bit untidy towards the end there. 2.3, a fairly low tariff. .41.14 leaves her vulnerable. Frida Kallgren of Sweden, the back marker at the moment, a 16-year-old.
Well, that's certainly an improvement on her last dive, and a little bit more difficult as well. The forward 2.5 somersault rates a difficulty of 2.6. She scored 27 on her last dive. Quite a disaster, but she's come back strong.
Gave the board a good old thump. 46.80. Kaja Skierczek from Poland. Back 1.5 somersault, piked 2.3.
be the strapping on the ankle. They've got to have such control, especially when starting the dive, facing inwards, and they're on their toes, really pushing through the calves, through their Achilles.
Down in the 6s and a 6.5. Down to Catherine Torrance now. Big deep breath. Reverse 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. That's 2.6. Big support team with them there, the British. There's a lot of investment going into British diving and swimming at the moment. And drifting away from that board, 49.40. Vivian Bart of Switzerland, 5th. Reverse 1.5. 2.4.
She just seemed to hang in the air as she went out from that pike position. There she goes into the extension before entering the water as smoothly as possible.
Smooth enough for the judges though, 44.40. Now, Louisa Stałczyński coming out the middle of the pack, and now setting the pace at the top. Reverse 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, free position, and it carries 2.6. There's a degree of difficulty, and she is really in a strong position.
Well, she's been creeping up the leaderboard, started in 3rd after her 5 compulsory dives from the qualifications. She was in 1st before this dive.
I think this competition is up for grabs. 3 6s, not the scores you want to be looking at when you're leading from the front. Josephine Schneider, the second German girl, the younger of the two. Reverse 1.5 somersault with those 1.5 twists. To pull the dive all the way through the water on entry. Again, 6s for a German girl. Maria Polikova in 3rd place. Could go higher.
No one running away with this competition just yet. Polikova gradually working her way up the leaderboard. 8th, 5th, 3rd before this dive we are seeing now.
58.50 her score, 3 7.5. No mistakes there from the Russian girl. Millie Fowler of Great Britain has slipped back a little. She's just out of the medal frame. This 2.4 tariff reverse 1.5 somersault, her 3rd dive. determined look on her face. Look at that concentration. Arms working as well, round the back there, behind the knees, trying to get the forehead tight, but quickly out, reach, cut through the water, hold it. (50-40).
Look at that positive feedback from the coach as well.
Ekaterina Nekrasova down to 6th. 39 points with her last very disappointing dive.
And that's a lower tier dive, 2.3 difficulty, so she really needs a good execution, and that finish is not going to get marks that count as good from the coaches or the judges, more importantly, and that only totals 35.65. That's even less than her previous.
All change, I suspect. All change at the top. Polikova, Stravinsky has dropped down. Shelestiuk coming up. Millie Fowler still 4th. It's tight though, it's very tight. 6 points Polikova's lead, then 6 points again down between silver and bronze, and less than, no, just over 3 to 4th place. Everything to go for in this sprint, really. Just 4 rounds. But still, it's ebbed and flowed. Daphne Vils opens the final round.
Her final dive. Has she managed to get a mark higher than 6.5 in this final? And she has. She saved her best to last. That's a nice way to end it, 54.0.
Well done. Always leave them asking for more. Brusa Kanerva from Finland. 6th, 16-year-old from Vantaa. Bit heavy that looked. Good tight position there through the somersaults.
Well, a lot of smiles and a lovely big embrace from the coach.
Well, she looks very pleased, giving it a good go. Diana Shelestiuk in the bronze medal position. We'll have a long wait after this. 2.4 reverse 1.5 somersault. Big moment. Just a little bit spoiled at the completion, but the Ukrainians up there cheering and hoping that the judges like it.
A very subtle but noticeable raise of the eyebrows from her coach. What is he thinking?
See the facial contortions they put themselves through with those super slow-mo replays. Not great at all, 39.60. Frida Kalgren would like to end her long day with a nice dive. Made it through to the final.
Well, that was certainly an improvement on her second dive. Let's see if it's an improvement on her third, and she will finish on a positive note if it is. And it is 50.7. Best dive yet.
Kaja Skierczek from Poland is back down in 10th, 16-year-old. Reverse 1.5 somersault, 2.4, her final dive.
You can see as she opens up, she gets into the entry position. Just goes over slightly at the end. 49 for the Polish.
Deep breath, sigh. One more dive, I can go home to bed. Catherine Torrance of Great Britain completing her 4th dive.
Forward 2.5 somersault. That was a rating of 2.6. She's actually put 2 of those into her selection. One of the more established divers in this final.
Vivienne Barth of Switzerland, 5th. There or thereabouts. 2.6, reverse 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. But really gave herself a chance. Still had it all to do when she hit the water.
Using her arms for that momentum upwards. Trying to get as much height as possible. She just ran out of space.
.40.30. Louise Stauczynski up to 1st, back to 2nd. Last dive, 2.6 degree of difficulty on her forward 2.5 somersault, piked. And pretty open field. Can she grab a bigger medal? Taking her time. She was a bit hesitant along the board then. She never really sort of went down there with full conviction. Never hit a rhythm. Just, you can see her straining.
Her legs just flipping over after her entry, making that big splash. Not what a diver wants to finish on. She's going to have to settle with 37.7.
Josephine Schneider is just too far back to really make a charge. 2.6 forward, 2.5 somersault. Well, she charged at that dive anyway. Signing off there with a committed dive. 52 points. Getting down to where it really matters. Maria Polikova now with one more dive to see if she can bring home another Russian gold. Sounded good, looked good, and the cheers from her supporters, if not her impassive coach, look encouraging.
There was a nod of approval from the coach. He is of the thought that that's enough to secure the title in the women's 1-meter springboard final.
2 to go, we shall see. But that was a pressure dive, and she's delivered really solid marks. 58.50, hers for the taking. Stalczynski celebrating there because it looks like she's on the podium. Millie Fowler just out of it. 2.6 forward, 2.5 somersault, trying to grab a headline. Don't think so. Just trailed away in this final, the British girl.
You could see the look of distraught on her face as she exited the water. She still had a very alive chance going into that final performance. And I think she might need that hug.
Disappointment there for the British girl. And two for Ekaterina Nekrasova, who must have come into this final full of hope. Showing what she can do right at the end there, perhaps to increase her frustration.
Well, a perfect takeoff, the positioning on the board, just back from the edge, and that's got to be one of her best dives. She'll be pleased to finish on a positive note, but will definitely be frustrated with her overall performance. 58.5, what a way to finish, showing us what she could have delivered.
Well, a really thrilling competition that kept us right on the edge of our seats, but it's another gold medal